The Survivor Specialists, Phil and Tegwith, are back, and today we're doing Tegwith's final Everything You Need to Know About, and we are talking about Jenna Lewis Doherty now. She does have an additional hyphen there, and she is playing for the first time since season 8. This is the largest gap in Survivor history of a player between seasons, going from season 8 to season 50, 42 seasons in between. It used to be owned by Ethan, who was 32 seasons in between. Crazy to think that it wasn't even possible for Ethan at the time. But here's Jenna, first time, the only representative from season 1. I know a lot of people thought that maybe we would get, were the rumors of Greg and Colleen. Could we get something like that with season 2? People were looking for Elizabeth. But we ultimately end up getting somebody who we have now seen for the third time. And I got to be honest, I'm so excited to watch Jenna play. It's crazy. I'm so ready.
I'm so high on Jenna. I think she's going to do really well.
I feel like people are writing her off, and I think Fishback said it or something. Maybe I'm putting Fishback. Sorry, Fishback, if I'm misquoting, but I think he said like this game's going to move too fast for her, right? And I think that's how a lot of people have been looking. I feel like the other 2 games just moved too slow for her. That's my opinion. I think she was so ahead of what Survivor was when she played. If you watch Borneo, she's the one who's talking about there's an alliance. There's things going on. These people are weird. Like Greg is being a little different now that we've merged. Like she has such a good read on people. The problem is she can't do anything with it. And she's like, maybe there's an alliance, maybe there's not. And she looks stupid because it's like, Jenna, there's obviously an alliance. We all know there is, but it's easy to say that now when you look back and you know what the show becomes. And then Jenna goes out and plays All-Stars. And maybe she didn't deserve to be on All-Stars. Maybe she shouldn't have been there. But Jenna made her presence known on All-Stars, and she dictated a lot of what took place in that game. And yes, she, blindsides Rupert at Final 4 to go to Final 3 with Rob and Amber, which might be viewed as stupid. She beats Rob and Amber at Final 2. So, I feel like strategically she's going to be there. And the beauty is because she was so young when she played the first time, only 22 years old when she plays All-Stars, or at Borneo, only 26 when she plays All-Stars. She's only 47. She's a baby on this cast. It's crazy. So I'm super stoked for Jenna. That's my ramble after you did your Christian one last time. I'm so excited about Jenna.
No, I'm so excited about Jenna too. And I think she is being overlooked a lot because I think there are maybe some names such as Jerry, Elizabeth, Colleen, and Greg that a lot of people were talking about before the cast was announced, before that last rumor was released. And I think that because of that, and she's not some of these other names, people are like, oh man, but it could have been this, it could have been this, it could have been this. But I think Jenna is primed and ready to go. I do get why you view this. People say, oh, it's going to be too fast of a game because of all this other stuff. I think having such a large time, such a big gap in time between the last time he played and now is actually going to be the 26-day game. I think is going to be easier for her than for Rick Devens, than for Angelina or Mike White. Some of these people who just played where it's fresh in their memory, the 39 days. Jenna can go watch what it was like. And she definitely remembers, right? But it's not so fresh in her memory. She's like, oh, what did we do in those down days? I don't know. And I do think that's going to be to her benefit. And I do think that she's going to have some longevity in this game because she's strategic, she's social, and I think that she's going to be able to hold her own.
I think that's the thing too. Why would Jenna be worse on a 26-day season than a 39-day season, right? And okay, I get that there's going to be lost votes. There's going to be advantages. There's going to be all this stuff. I just feel like, okay, there's this feeling that these people can't acclimate and that because they're playing with second-time players, it's going to be too fast. And even the people in the 30s are going to be able to keep up with it better. Aubrey and Rick and Mike and Angelina and Christian, all them are going to be able to keep up better. But I just say, who says 47-year-old Jenna Lewis couldn't figure out how to play the game? Who says that she doesn't know what she's doing and that it's going to move too fast for her? She has an understanding for how things work. She is, people won't look at it this way. She's the fallen angel of that season because if she wins that final tribal or final immunity challenge, she wins the season. And people try to argue, no, Rob could have beaten her. Rob has no chance of beating her, and Amber doesn't have a chance of beating her. The jury votes for Jenna. So I just think that when you look at Jenna, yes, she didn't win any immunity challenges in either of her seasons. However, she was pretty good and pretty physical in those challenges. She is athletic. The challenges have changed so drastically for her. It's not going to matter. But I'm not buying that 26 days is going to be bad for her. If the game moves faster, Jenna can sit there and make some relationship. And guess what? Jenna has no target on her back to start this game. Absolutely zero. Why would you vote Jenna Lewis out of the game? Everybody's going out there thinking the same thing that the majority of the community is thinking, which is she's not a threat.
Yep. Yeah. I think that she is primed because I think that she's going to be underestimated. I think that she's going to know how to play. Because here's the thing. One of my biggest pet peeves is when people are like, well, they don't know how to play this game. They didn't know how to play this game when they went in the first time. She was literally on season 1. She was a part of figuring out how to play this game. Then on All Stars, the first ever time that people returned on the game, she went very far and had to figure out how to play with returning players because it had never happened before. So yeah, it's a big time difference. It's a different game than when she played it. But All Stars was different than season 1, and she figured out how to do it. It was a different game. There wasn't a swap. There wasn't a lot that All Stars had that season 1, or that season 1.
Season 1 has nothing.
Season 1 has 0. It barely has Jeff. Like, it doesn't have anything. There's no reunion. The reunion is like some like random videos that were sent in by their families afterwards because they didn't think it was going to be a hit. Like, you know, season 1's got nothing. So I really think that we are really underestimating her and her ability. And maybe I'm overestimating her. I don't know. But I was talking to a friend of mine, Ian, who is a huge Survivor fan. And he was saying how his hot take is that if it's a final 3, Jenna at All Stars, Jenna is Kyle.
Mm-hmm.
And I went, yeah, that's so real because it's a duo. 2 people that were very of overt duo. You're sitting next to somebody else who was able to, you know, like bob and weave and all that stuff and get to the end. Jenna, absolutely. And I think Jenna wins. And I think that that is overlooked. And I think that that is a really good thing for her. I don't want her to be looked. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want people, because I think it would be very exciting to see somebody who hasn't played in a billion years to do well. And I really think that she will do well. Now, granted, she's not ingrained in the Survivor world, right? I have not seen her at, not that I go to all the events, but like, I don't see her like at events. Like, I don't know that she necessarily goes to all of them. And so I do think that could be bad because, you know, who are we kidding? Preseason gaming or whatever is very real, right? And if she's not able to do that, then that might actually not help her. That might be bad. But I think that she is going to be able to be like, guys, it's been a couple of years for me. Can you teach me how to do it? I'm so dumb. Look at me. I don't know how to play this game. And then her way to the end.
Yeah. I could see that too. And I know she did a Fair Play podcast or maybe a couple Fair Play podcasts. And didn't she do like podcasts with Fishback at one point and stuff? Like she's done stuff. She stayed in tune with everything that's going on. I think that it'll come down to, does Jenna try to take control like she did in All Stars, right? In All Stars, she did. And she votes correctly every single time. Every person who gets voted out of that game that she's at the tribal council, she votes for them correctly. And she's the one who dictates we should get rid of Tina. And then, guys, maybe we should get rid of Ethan. And Rupert goes along with that. Ethan, she ends up saying, fine, we'll keep Ethan. Let's get rid of Rudy instead because he's just too physical and we can't just keep losing members. But she's really the one calling the shots on a tribe of Rupert herself, Ethan, Jerry, Rudy, and Tina. I mean, you're talking Survivor royalty. I mean, you could argue that could be somebody's Mount Rushmore +1. And Jenna's the one who's dictating what's happening on that tribe. So I do think that Jenna's adaptable, right? To me, that's really the word that comes to mind is she's adaptable. She also played on her first season. She got 11 votes on Borneo, which is the most that anybody got on that season. So she's also been able, and obviously Borneo doesn't really have strategy, but she's able to play a game where it's like, okay, Jenna, like your name's going to come up. Can you not panic? And it's like, yeah, I can. Even at the first tribal council in All-Star, she gets 2 votes. She's the one who gets the votes other than Tina because she's so vocal. I think she will take a step back on this season. And I think she'll just play the game. And like, is she going to be really good at challenges? No, I've already said that. But like, she's also not going to be so bad, in my opinion. It's not like Jenna has like, I mean, the last time I saw Jenna was on that Fair Play podcast. She doesn't look like she's aged all that much. Like, obviously, from 26 to 47, you're going to age. But it's not like she's like, put on a whole bunch of weight, is super out of shape, whatever. Like, Jenna still looks like Jenna. So, I don't know. All that being said, we are talking about somebody who played season 1 and season 8, who's not going to have those connections like you're talking about, who could come out and be the first boot. But I truly think that more often than not, when you run the simulation, Jenna is going to be final 6 or 7 on this season. I really do.
Yeah, I really agree. And I also think that there is an interesting like X factor with Jenna, because I think that having somebody who hasn't played the game since All Stars surrounded by a bunch of super fans, because let's be real, a lot like Charlie is a super fan. Like Q and Camilla are super fans. I think Christian is probably, Mike White is a super fan. Like a lot of these players are also huge fans of the game. And if some of these players are on a tribe with Jenna, like what are they going to do? I feel like they're going to be like, oh my God, yeah, it's an easy vote. Or I could align with Jenna Lewis. That's kind of cool. Now, granted, I'm not saying that these people's strategy is going to be like, they're going to be blinded by the celebrity of Jenna Lewis. Like, I don't necessarily think that's the case, but I think that they're going to be able to be like, hey, here are some benefits to keeping Jenna Lewis around. Number one, she's not a huge target. Number two, I like her. She's sociable. And number three, we get to listen to her war stories of season 1 and season 8. Like, I do think that is a tick in her positive column. I'm not saying that's going to completely save her game, but if she's able to use that to her benefit a little bit, I do think that there are some people that would respond positively to that. I also think that she, again, with the recency bias, I've talked about this multiple times, and I'll keep talking about it. She's like the opposite of recency bias. We've said it, she's overlooked. People aren't really thinking about her all that much. And I don't think that means that the players are going to necessarily overlook her. But if the two votes, if your tribe is deciding between Jenna Lewis and Emily to vote out, I'm going to go with Emily, because she is the one with the larger target on her back. And I kind of know what she's capable. Like, I don't know what she's capable of because she's kind of so chaotic, and I just watched her season before I left, that kind of thing. Whereas Jenna Lewis, she's kind of a little bit more, well, I'm not saying that she's going to play tamely, but like more tame. She's like, oh, that's so long ago, all of that stuff. And I think she'll use that to her benefit.
I mean, I look at this cast, and I've talked about this a lot in all these episodes we've done, when I've done all these other one-off episodes, everything. I've always talked about there's a lot of players who are coming in known as strategists, right? And all that. There's also a lot of players coming in who want to play with predictable players because they haven't, or because it worked for them, right? Like Joe wants to play with predictable. Kyle probably wants to play with predictable. I know for sure Colby and Jonathan want to play with predictable, right? Like, there's a lot of people who are coming into this game who, when you actually break it down, I would bet you more than half the cast really hasn't been part of a power play in Survivor, right? Stephanie LaGrossa's never been part of a power play in Survivor. Colby's never been part of a power play. Maybe when he voted out Hatch, that was a big
I would
moment,
say Stephanie's vote against Judd, the blind side of Judd.
Yes, but also that was at the point where like literally Danny was the only one left. So it's hard to put too much weight into that. But I do understand what you're saying. But like, these are players who maybe talk a lot, but haven't done a lot. Jenna is so predictable right now. You're coming into this game, and if everybody's saying she can't keep up with the 26-day game, she's not a threat. What is she going to do? Kimmy Kappenberg took that to what, 5th place? I mean, Kimmy Kappenberg rolled with that to almost a spot in the final 3. She doesn't beat Jeremy on that season. Like, there's no way. But she was very close. I mean, for a season 2 pre-merge boot to go that far, you can say, well, she didn't know what she was doing. Okay, but she still finished 5th place on Survivor in season 31 when it was all returning players and everybody's, to use the Courtney Yates line, it's like I'm a what is it? I'm a dog, or I'm all covered in meat and there's dogs everywhere or something like that. It's like everybody was that on Second Chance. Jenna, I do think, like, it's hard to really, when I give like the little tidbits and facts about people, it's like Jenna played season 1 and she played season 8. Like, that's there's not really tidbits or facts to be giving out when it comes to that. But Jenna is somebody who I just feel like when she says she's going to do it, she's just going to do it, because why would she not? And maybe she comes out and she's like, I'm going to be a totally different person. Why though? I truly think that Jenna Lewis can play the exact same game that she played in season 1 and season 8 and win, because there's going to be an advantage that falls in her lap at some point. Or there's going to be an opportunity to vote somebody out and make a move. And I do think that it's going to be like, wow, whatever. Like, let's do this with her. My other thing, though, we talked about this, Chrissy, Jenna could also be the villain on the season, because she's overshadowed by Rob, but she's kind of a villain on All Stars.
Yeah, I think that's all true. And I have a question for you. Like, do you necessarily think that Jenna will want to be somebody, like, want to work with somebody like a Colby just because of ease? Say they're on the same tribe together, which I doubt. But, season 1, season 2, they definitely knew each other. It makes a lot of sense. Do you think that's a good decision for her, or do you think that is when people are like, oh wow, these two, whether or not they're big strategic threats, they are pairing up together? Is that going to be then a threat because these old school players are now working together?
Yeah, if she ends up on the same starting tribe as Colby, I think the worst thing for her to do would be to work with Colby. Now, unless of course the old schoolers get the numbers, then do what you have to do. But when I look at Jenna, I actually think that being the unknown or just kind of being like the hapless bystander for some of the new schoolers could be her best move. Really, Jenna's game, if she's coming out here, she should have studied Sandra and Heroes versus Villains. That's the game to study. And here's what I mean by that. Sandra came in as a winner, but her target was not that high. And that blows people's minds now. But Sandra was not a legend after she won Pearl Islands. Most people considered her one of the worst winners of the show after she won Pearl Islands, even going into Heroes Villains. What Sandra did so well, though, was she just said, yeah, sure, I'll go over here. I'll go over there. I'll work with these people. I'll work with these people. I'll do whatever I need to. Then she hits the merge and she goes, Rupert, I'll work with you. Oh, you guys don't want to do that? Fine. That means JT's gone. All right, Rupert, I'll work with you. Oh, Candace doesn't want to do that. I'm going to go with them. And she played such a good game of, I'm never going to need to take control, but I'm always going to be useful, and I'm going to allow everybody else to be a bigger target than me so that even Courtney Yates is seen as a bigger threat than me going into the merge, right? I think that that's the game that Jenna needs to play. Be patient, lay back, make sure somebody else is always taking the shots, right? If there's going to be a fight like there was with Russell and Rob, don't be Russell or Rob. Be Sandra. And I think if she plays that type of game, which I very easily could see her do, because it's kind of what she did in All-Stars, right? She just played whatever she did. She took control early. Then she just settled into the Shapira group and she said, Rob and Amber, I'm with you. And she got all the way to Final 3 with that and was one immunity challenge away from winning the season. So that's the game I would play if I'm Jenna. And that, to me, getting to your question, is don't play with Colby necessarily. Try to play more with, like, Devins. Try to play with Aubrey. Maybe try to play with Angelina or Dee or Emily or Tiffany. Like, look at those people a little bit more. And I honestly do think that there's a lot of avenues for her on this season. A lot.
I totally agree. I also think that she would work really well with maybe like a Joe or a Kyle. And I know you said this earlier, but I don't think that she is just somebody who's going to be like, all right, we're just gonna, I'll write your coattails, we'll get to the end, blah blah blah. Like, I don't think she'll be like a Mitch, kind of a vibe. I think that she will, if she finds the right person or the right people, she'll be able to make moves with them that are smart. And I think that you're right, she has to find the best avenue. And if that best avenue is with these people, great, use it. If that best avenue is with somebody else, I do think that she needs to be able to be socially aware of what's going on. And New Era, people love to think that New Era is void of a social game because, like, people are like, people who win with a social game, they don't really win, they didn't deserve it, blah 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 blah. Social games win you the game. A good social game will win you the game. If you played the exact same as somebody, you played the exact same game, and you were a slightly more likable, you will win the game. Like a Dom and Wendell, you will win the game. And so I think it really all comes down to being somebody who can ingratiate herself with a lot of people, be likable, whether or not that you're a villain or not. I think you can be a likable villain. You can just be like a chaotic. Like, I think that you're able to do that. But be able to use the unknown of your game, because it is kind of unknown because it's been so long. Use that unknown to your advantage. Play a little dumb.
Yeah.
And really be like taken along for the ride, but then figure out how to, the beauty of Survivor, figure out like halfway through how to make your mark.
Yeah. And if you want to say like Jenna can't, how's she going to do with like certain elements of the game and stuff? She was on 4 tribes in All-Stars, which is still the record, like tied with people, but it's the record for most tribes by anybody in a season. Like, she was on 4 different tribes on that season in an era where nothing was happening. It was just swaps. She was on 4 tribes. That's a lot of adjusting you need to do to be able to get deep into the game.
And I also just want to say, I think it's a little naive of us, and I'm not saying that people actually believe this, but these people are going to do their research, right? You're going on to season 50 of Survivor. You are not going to go in cold turkey. You're not going to go in being like, oh my God, they called me yesterday and I just showed up here. Like, they're not going to do that. Jenna's not going to do that. It's $1 million at stake. Like, that's a lot of money. Even if you have to give away $400,000 to taxes, it's still a lot of money. And so they're going to do their research. They're going to look up, you know, the potential other people that they're going to be playing against. They're going to figure out how to, like, ingratiate themselves, why this person did well, why this person didn't do well, all of that stuff. And Jenna is the same. Jenna's going to do that too. And I think she's probably doing it the hardest, or did it the hardest of everybody else, because she kind of has the most to prove, because it's been so long. And I really hope that she's able to use that to her advantage and really kind of ride that wave as long as she possibly can. Because I think, how exciting would it be? Oh my God, how exciting would it be to have like Jenna Lewis in Final 3 and win season 50 of Survivor? Yeah. That would be, oh my God, delectable. It's like having Chris Underwood win Edge of Extinction, right? Like, it's just so perfect. It fits the theme so well, and I think it would just be incredible.
I mean, if Jenna does that, that would be awesome. And now you've convinced me that she's going to be the first boot, because we can't have nice things in the Survivor community, right? Like, that just doesn't happen. But I mean, I think there's endless opportunity for her, endless opportunity. And for me, I think Jenna is going to find herself in the majority alliance because she's going to latch onto a group of 4 and be okay with it.
Yep.
And maybe it kills her that she doesn't go to events and she hasn't been around and blah, blah, blah. But I truly don't think it's going to matter. And here's the craziest part, right? We talked about Chrissy, 54 now. Jenna's 47. Jenna is 1 year older than Chrissy was when she played in HHH. So the crazy thing right now with Jenna is we're used to seeing her as the younger woman. She's coming in playing at the same age as Chrissy. The last time we saw Cirie, like, that's pretty wild to think about, that she's still younger than so many of these people. And we know what we're going to get from Chrissy or Cirie because we've seen them on our screens more recently. Maybe Jenna's just as good as them. And because the threat level's low, that's what carries her through.
Yeah. Yeah. And I also want to say, it could hurt her not being so in the thing, but it also could help her, because not being in means you're not burning people. I mean, I don't know if you've heard the rumors, but that there were a lot of rumors that Stephanie was pre-gaming hard against Cirie because of traitors, because of snake in the grass, all of that, or mainly because of traitors. And I think that's bad for both Stephanie and Cirie. So there's also a benefit, right? If she's able to use it as you might not know people very well, but you've also not burned a bridge. You've never gotten in a fight. You've never had a disagreement with any of these people. You've just kind of chilled. And so, it could be seen as a negative. And we've seen people go into seasons such as like Candace on Blood versus Water, not being a part of the situation, not being a part of the discussion, and then getting out first because of that. So it could be negative, but it could also be a huge positive, because she's like, well, I haven't upset anybody. So all I can do is build these bonds and go from there.
Yeah. I'm so excited. Look, and Jenna's not my number 1 pick from season 1 by any means, right? Like, she's not, but I'm so excited to see how this is going to shake out, because like everything you said, everything I've said, I'm like, and little do we know, we're probably putting out this episode after Jenna has already been announced as 23rd place finish.
I also just want to say, like, I was not super high on Jenna either. I mean, I was excited just to have somebody from season 1, no matter what. The more I think about it, the more I'm like, this is the best choice from season 1.
Yeah, it is.
Like, it is. The more I think about it, I'm just like, this was the correct choice. And I love Colleen, and I love Greg, and I love Jervis. Like, I love all of these people, but like, this was right. And I'm very excited to see it.
Yeah, I remember I said that on the cast reaction when we put that out. I was like, Jenna's the right choice, everybody. Like, you can be mad about that, but she's the right choice. And I think like everybody kind of had like a really, but when you think about it, she is the strategist. Yeah. Colleen and Greg are not going to come out and do what Jenna's going to do. So give me Jenna. I'm ready. That's it. That's a wrap for Tegwith on everything you need to know about. Congrats, Tegwith. You did it. 8 episodes. You took one more than everybody else and you finished first. Even if this comes out as our last one, I just want everybody to know Tegwith finished first. Yeah, exactly. Thank you all so much for listening. I hope you enjoyed this episode. This won't be the last one in the series. I know that I'm putting out one of Blake's last. I already know, because he's got Q and Angelina. So one of those two is coming out last. But thank you for listening. Like this video, subscribe to the channel. Let us know what you think about Jenna Lewis's chances, and we'll see you next time.